Probably about 5 years now. It's a grant, so it's a grant that for about 5 years.
Well, we need things, so as you know.
Montgomery County is not very healthy. Those are some things we need to work on, and we need funding for. So, in fact, that's what I'm here to do. To talk about that.
Give a report or give an ask.
Okay. We'll call our meeting to order. Melissa, will you please take roll call?
Commissioner Bauer,
Here.
Commissioner Maxson,
Here.
Commissioner York,
Here.
Vice Mayor Doan,
Here.
Mayor Van Oster.
Here. We'll now go into our invocation, which tonight will be led by Pastor Randy DePriest of the First Assembly of God Church.
Thank you for standing, and thank you all for accepting the mantle of leadership. Leaders have a strange existence. Some days we would never do something, never dream of doing something else. Other days we can't figure out why we're doing what we're doing at all. And so I thank you for your leadership. And I was wanting to share just one scripture before I pray. And get my phone open and back up again. Acts 13:36, speaking of David, a great leader of God's command, says, "For David, after he had served the purpose of God in his own generation, fell asleep and was laid with his fathers." I pray for all of these leaders and this community, Father, that you would bestow leadership abilities and grace and wisdom to all of us. We thank you for the position. We don't know why we're in it necessarily. We just it just happened. But God, some days we feel fulfilled and some days we feel burdened and overwhelmed. It is probably best that we feel a little burdened and overwhelmed. So we would look to you, the author and the finisher of our faith. And so, Father, I ask a special blessing upon everyone who labors in a selfless way for the best of others and the best of the community. May God bless America. May God bless Coffeyville, Kansas. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor DePriest, very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll have the review of the agenda. Do we have any questions, any changes that need to be made before we start? Anybody? Okay, all right. We'll move on to our consent agenda. The first part of it is the City Commission meeting minutes from Tuesday, January 12th, 2021. And the next is the 2021 appropriation ordinance number AO-21-02 for $3,888,983.34. We have questions, comments?
So I have big shoes to fill. I'm going to try to fill in for Anne Marie here and kind of give you a rundown. So I'm going to go round numbers where she was a little more specific. But so $3.9 million was this week's budget approval. 3.5 was part of our packet. 2.7 of that was power purchase, and 528,000 was transmission services. We also had 24,000 for shelter operations, and 20,000 for water fee, and an $18,000 for membership fees. 395,000 of that was payroll, and that leaves about 225,000 that was miscellaneous items it just takes to make the city run.
Great job.
Very good.
Yeah.
Hopefully I covered everything all right.
Well done.
Good, good. Okay, anything else? Anybody have any other questions? None? Okay. I'll move to approve items 1 and 2 of the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Bauer to approve items 1 and 2 of the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner Maxson.
Aye.
Commissioner York,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan,
Aye.
Mayor Van Oster,
Aye.
Commissioner Bauer.
Aye.
Next item is the 2021 appropriation ordinance number AO-21-02A for items $96.25. You have any questions?
Nope.
If there are no questions, I'll move to approve item number 3 of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Commissioner York, seconded by Commissioner Maxson to approve item 3 of the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner York,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan,
Aye.
Mayor Van Oster,
Abstain.
Commissioner Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxson.
Aye.
Moving on, we have comments from the public. Any citizen desiring to address the commission shall be recognized, advance to the podium, state his or her name and address for the record. Comments shall be limited to 3 minutes unless extended by a vote of the majority of the commission. The commission does not hear matters involving litigation or city personnel. The commission does not take action on subjects not on the agenda unless unusual or hardship conditions exist. Citizens may address the commission on agenda items as they are brought to the floor. Do we have anybody this evening? No? Okay. We'll move on to our regular agenda items. The first is the announcement of anticipated Kansas Health Championship Award, and we have Marcy Roberts that will make this announcement for us.
Thank you very much. Do I leave my mask on?
You can take
You
it
can
off
take
the
it
top
off.
if you need to.
I might fog up my glasses by the time.
Yes.
We're 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
It is my pleasure to announce the 2021 Kansas Health Champion Award to the City of Coffeyville. The city has gone above and beyond over the last few years in making an effort to improve the quality of life and improve health in our community, and it has not gone unnoticed. The Kansas Health Champion Award was developed by the Governor's Council on Fitness to recognize and promote exemplary contributions to fitness in Kansas. There are 2 main categories: individual health champion and organizational. The City of Coffeyville is the organizational health champion for 2021. Our city leaders and staff are implementing policies and obtaining funding to promote healthy lifestyles and improve the quality of life in our rural town. In 2019, the city passed a tobacco-free parks policy that included all tobacco products on all city property. This policy was a great first step in protecting citizens from secondhand smoke and states that our community values good health. Over the last several years, the former Public Works Director, Chuck Shively, and City Engineer Thomas Osborne have worked tirelessly towards completing a master trail plan. They have obtained 6 grants over the last 7 years, which resulted in over $2.1 million in funding for 4.7 miles of sidewalks. Those sidewalks have made a blighted neighborhood of our community a safe, walkable route to the shopping center and to the downtown plaza. The 9th Street Corridor project provides a means for our citizens who may be disabled to travel without barriers, thanks to the updated curbs and well-marked sidewalk crossings. It enables our college students who live on campus to access a safe route to the West Side Shopping Center. Last but not least, the city's collaboration with the Neighborhood Revitalization Program on 9th Street has inspired residents of the block to take pride in their houses and to begin to make updates, such as planting shrubs, painting the house, or the front door. These efforts have changed the built environment for the better and for the long run. It's definitely much more than just a sidewalk. Also, not to go unnoticed are the grassroots efforts of Ron and Peggy Olson for their personal investment and driving force behind the 9th Street housing revitalization and the community gardens. So thank you to the city leaders and staff for seeing the value of collaboration and implementing the policies and resources that promotes health and wellness, quality of life, and economic growth. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy. Very good.
Yeah.
Mayor, Commissioners, Mayor Commissioners, I'd also like to say is, staff worked extra hard, but to be commended also is our Parks Board. They are trying to improve the community and coming up with many ideas, and have volunteered their time to do projects, around the parks to make improvements, which even include painting. We've also had the participation of the church, and that is Reverend Munn, as you're aware, that has started working on the sidewalks and the beautiful brick that's under 6 inches of grass and dirt. So it is something that I think the city is proud, but there's a lot of people that are involved in it, a lot of boards, and I think this is a good thing for the city, but it's also a job well done for staff through all these years of trying to make improvements on a limited budget. So I'd just like to add that. But thank you, Marcy.
Thank you.
Mark, I would actually take your comment just a step further and just say it just shows the amount of pride that people have in their community, and that's been something that's lacked over the years, and it's just good to see it come back and be utilized. It's something that as a governing body, you can't legislate pride. People have to have that or they don't. So really appreciate their efforts.
All right. Thank you. We have no old business, so we'll move on to new business. The first item we have is Resolution R-21-03, which is a resolution to approve the purchase of playground equipment for Feaster Park. Our Director of Public Works, Mr. Jim Bradshaw, will make comments.
Mayor and Commissioners, on December 28th of 2020, the City of Coffeyville was notified that we were awarded a customer assistance grant through GRDA in amount of $25,000. The grant is for the purchase of new playground equipment that will be installed at Feaster Park. The Parks Board has selected the equipment to be purchased with the funds provided by the grant. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the purchase of the playground equipment recommended by the Parks Board for a total cost of $24,999. Attached to my staff report is a photo of the playground equipment that was selected, an overview of the equipment, as well as the site plan showing the location for the new equipment. Also, Laura Townsend and Jerry Cook, representatives with GRDA, is present also this evening. Both was very instrumental in processing this grant for the City of Coffeyville. Try to answer any questions you might have pertaining to this.
Would Ms. Townsend or Mr. Cook like to address?
You're up.
Yeah.
Both of them.
I wasn't even the one that said it.
Yeah.
I kept teasing her.
I love being here in Coffeyville, so it's my honor. But if I may, I just had a couple of comments. My name is Laura Townsend, for those that have not met me before. I'm the Marketing Programs and Community Relations Manager for the Grand River Dam Authority. And we're currently, our headquarters are in Tulsa, for the record. And I'm here tonight to officially award the $25,000 to the City of Coffeyville. And I appreciate the comments from the past two commission meetings in support of our funding. So it's our pleasure, Jerry and myself, to be here tonight. And you know, it's about a lot more than just being the electric provider for the City of Coffeyville. We've been a partner to Coffeyville for almost 20 years now. And this was just one opportunity that presented itself that we were really happy to be able to provide you guys this grant for all of the work that your parks, volunteer parks department are coming up with a strategic plan, from my understanding, on how to, you know, reinvent the existing parks that maybe have, you've not been able to keep up because of, financial restraints. And we're just glad to be able to provide that. And we are also here to support the resolution R2103 as presented in your packet for the playground equipment for Feaster Park. I also would like to take the opportunity to thank Mark Hall and Jim Bradshaw, who have been meeting with the Parks Committee to determine on what type of playground this funding can go toward. And I'd also like to thank Mike Shook. I've had the pleasure of knowing Mike for 16 years that I've been at GRDA, and he never disappoints. And, he was really instrumental in helping pick up all those fine details to be able to make this funding awarded to the city. So I'd like to give my appreciation to him for all of his help and support. And if this is approved, we would also like to come back after the equipment is installed and maybe do a community ribbon cutting, so that we can help further, and maybe do a press release with that to help the community know about what you guys are doing here at the city, and what your plans are to do more park projects.
Great.
Okay, that's
Do
great.
you have any questions for me?
Yeah, thank
No,
you.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'd just like to take the opportunity. So the 4.5 years I've been on the commission, my first thing I got to do was the power plant when I got to talk to it. And it just goes to show the great partnership that the city has with GRDA. And we truly appreciate everything that you do for us. You're involved. I've been to many events when COVID wasn't happening that you and others, multiple others from GRDA were at. So again, I think it's just a testament to the partnership that GRDA and the city of Coffeyville have built through all the relationships that you just mentioned. So thank you.
Well, and
Yes.
none of this would be possible without the leadership of the commission. So Madam Mayor and the commission, we really appreciate your leadership for Coffeyville.
Yeah, great.
That's great. No, done a great job. As Commissioner Bauer said, the relationship we have, I think, is top notch with you all. I mean, I remember you coming down for our 150th celebration that Saturday of June 1st in 2019, and were with us there at the city booth all day. And that just goes above and beyond a little bit extra. So all that we appreciate very, very much, what you do.
I appreciate that. I think it just gives you the opportunity to get to know each other on a personal level.
Mhm.
And whereas, sometimes we're able to come to the meetings at night, but I think just having those interpersonal relationships with the people in the community is what public power is all about. And it's our honor to be here.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, I'm not going to let her off that easy. On behalf of the city, I'd just like to express, and I'm not going to get choked up, but this is a gift to the children of Coffeyville. It is something that playground equipment doesn't know any economic situation or financial situation of the family. And that is something that is truly a gift to a child, because no matter their background or where they come from, they can enjoy this equipment for many years to come. And it'll stay with them as they grow older. And this is something that GRDA is truly given that gift. And I want to say how we appreciate it. It is one of those that, we couldn't do it without you. So do you realize that this gift will give for many, many years to come all the children in Coffeyville? And that's something that they'll all be able to touch. And 10 years from now, that gift will still be given to the children in Coffeyville. So thank you. It's just such a great thing. So
Yes.
Thank you so much.
I didn't get choked up.
Thank you.
I did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Do we have any questions for Mr. Bradshaw or anything about the equipment?
Nope.
Okay.
I'll move to approve resolution R-21-03 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Vice Mayor Doan, seconded by Mayor Van Oster to approve Resolution R-21-03 as presented. Vice Mayor Doan.
Aye.
Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Maxon.
Aye.
Commissioner York.
Aye. Jim, do you have a timeline on that when you hope to have that up? Or?
We'll finalize the order. The equipment that was picked was a sale item, which that's the best way to buy it.
Absolutely.
Saved us $15,000 approximately.
Wow.
Nice.
There's a few colors we still need to pick. We'll work on that. And I think we're looking at probably a 5-week delivery.
Okay.
As you notice, we put on our Facebook page that we've already started the removal and the prep of the site.
Yep.
Yes.
That existing equipment is at our shop. It's getting evaluated. It will go in to be refurbished. And then the parts board will meet again and we'll determine where that equipment will be placed. It'll be like new equipment, what we were able to pull out of that section. So 5 weeks for the delivery, and then hopefully site prep will be ready and we'll start installation. So shortly after that.
So this spring, it'll be.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Hopefully it's full mowing season. We'll get this thing in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last one we got in was in the fall. We took delivery August,
Yeah.
and then we put it in, started in November. So, real time to put this stuff in, whenever grass is growing.
True.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Our staff is going to get really good at putting parks equipment together.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Our next item is Resolution R-21-04, which is a resolution to approve the project list for the Airport Capital Improvement Plan with the FAA. Our Director of Engineering Services, Mr. Thomas Osborne, will make comments.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. Tonight I have for you the Airport Capital Improvement Program. This is updated every year in January. The project list is kind of the wish list and the needs list for the airport. This doesn't say that we'll get funding, and this doesn't guarantee that we're going to have our match. All it does is tell the FAA, this is kind of what we see our needs at the airport, and this is the direction we'd like to head for uses of like entitlement funds, which are kind of a yearly source of funding that we use at the airport. So the only one for the next 5 years on the list is rehabilitate runway 1735. That would be either a crack seal or and an overlay, or potentially a mill and overlay. Just kind of depends on the engineering when we look at it at that point, whenever we were to do that project. As you can see, the cost of that project is a little over $2 million. That would be our 10% match at $200,000 is that's all the FAA grants are typically 90-10. So that would, you can tell that's quite a chunk of change for our airport. Also, it's significantly more than what you could bank for entitlement funds. Typically, entitlement funds you can bank 4 years. So that one, it's what we see as our next. Really, we need to start addressing that tax or that runway. But we'll be looking to, we'd have to have additional funding through FAA to be able to pull it off at this point. But that's kind of the next step, and that's why it's listed next on the list. So there's also a list of kind of long-range needs with kind of the apron areas, potentially hangars and stuff like that. So you have to answer any questions.
You know when the last time that runway was addressed?
I do not, off the top of my head. I believe early 2000s.
Yeah.
They did I believe they did crack seal in what's called they call it Black Beauty, which is actually the aggregate that's in it, but it's a seal coat. So.
Anything else for Thomas?
Nope.
Okay. Nothing. I'll move to approve Resolution R-21-04 as presented.
I'll
Go ahead, Bob.
second.
Motion is made by Mayor Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Bauer to approve Resolution R-21-04 as presented. Mayor Van Oster.
Aye.
Commissioner Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Maxon.
Aye.
Commissioner York.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan.
Aye.
Thomas, you're up again. Our next is Resolution R-21-05, which is a resolution to approve master services agreement with Lochner for airport consultant. Again, our Director of Engineering, Mr. Thomas Osborne, will make comments.
Thank you again, Mayor and Commissioners. As we discussed at the last commission meeting, the selection committee every 5 years, we do a kind of a selection process for airport consulting per FAA requirements for projects for ACIP capital improvement funds for the design and work on those. This year, we brought to you last meeting, Lochner was our selection, got your kind of approval to move forward. This is the master services agreement. This agreement simply states that we're contracting with them as our airport engineer for ACIP and capital improvement projects. The only time that money would be required would be if we issue a task order under this agreement. It lists the long-term needs of the ACIP in the agreement. So those would be the projects if we were to get grant awards or have the funding to move forward. Those would be the projects. Anything that FAA would be involved in, we'd contract them and issue a task order. You have to answer any questions.
No questions for me?
Nothing?
No surprises in this agreement. I mean, based on their proposal, everything was pretty kosher.
Yep, I think so.
Well, I'd
It's standard one, so.
move to approve Resolution R-21-05 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Maxon, seconded by Commissioner York to approve Resolution R-21-05 as presented. Commissioner Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Maxon.
Aye.
Commissioner York.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan.
Aye.
Mayor Van Oster.
Aye. Our next one is Resolution R-21-06, which is a resolution to approve Work Task Order Number 1 under the Master Services Agreement with Lochner for the airport lighting project. Thomas Osborne, our Director of City Engineering Services, will make comments.
Thank you again, Mayor and Commissioners. This would be task order number 1 under the master services agreement that we just approved, or that you guys just approved. This would be for taxiway lighting and the runway lighting on runway 1735. We're trying to get this project moving forward as quickly as possible. Included in the staff report was a cost estimate along with the ACIP for this project. As you can see, it's about 700 and I forgot the number off the top of my head. About 765,000, I believe what the number is. That number is above the 10% match plus the 600, which we have banked. We've banked entitlement funds, 150,000 for the last 4 years. Those entitlement funds, talking to the FAA when we had our pre-launch meeting for this to get everything squared away, they're recommending doing what's called a multi-year grant. So we would essentially use the funding from 18, 19, 20, and 21, and then our 22 funding, which will be awarded here coming up later this year, would also get pushed into that. Then that way we can expand the federal portion of that. It still leaves us with around 76,000 total for the overall project. This task order number 1 is for $87,400. It is reimbursable as part of the grant once the grant is awarded. It's FAA entitlement funds it's kind of a strange process. It's not kind of your straightforward. So basically they said, yeah, your project meets, design it, you put out your bids, we're ready to go. You put in your application and they say, okay, you've done everything you need to, and they stamp it off and award the project at that. And then at that point we'd be reimbursed or it would roll into the overall project for the 10% match, local match required for the project. Be happy to answer any questions on this one as well.
And remind me, Thomas, don't we have a limit on how many years we can bank that money?
Correct,
We're
yeah.
given,
It's
correct?
4 year, we can bank for 4 years.
Okay.
We have a full 600,000 banked right now. for this project. If this project doesn't get launched and approved, we'd actually look at turning 150,000 over to another airport in Kansas to help them out with the project. We've actually received that before, where we got, I want to say it was 32,000 or 33,000 on a project that we were doing from another airport, but that their entitlement funds were just that year was going away. So it keeps the FAA funding in Kansas. By doing the multi-year grant, which is what we're proposing to do, it actually allows us to kind of get that 5th year federal funding into the project.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
And these again are 90/10.
yes.
Anybody else have any questions or anything? Okay,
I'll move to approve Resolution R-21-06 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Bauer, seconded by Commissioner Maxon to approve Resolution R-21-06 as presented. Commissioner Maxon.
Aye.
Commissioner York.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan.
Aye.
Mayor Van Oster.
aye.
Commissioner Bauer.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Thomas,
Thomas.
very
Yeah,
much.
Thomas.
I missed your mask tonight, dude.
Okay, our next item is Resolution R-21-07, which is a resolution of intent to adopt a neighborhood revitalization plan and setting a public hearing on the proposal. Our city manager, Mr. Mark Hall, will make comments.
Mayor, Commissioners, I guess we're saving the best for last. Well, except for what we were donated and the announcement of the award, but it is one
And
of
everything
those.
else, Thomas.
When it comes to housing,
He was
this
joking, Thomas.
is the best thing. So anyway, what you have is a neighborhood revitalization program. What this allows is it provides an incentive for housing improvements. Now, this is not only available for residential, but it is available for commercial. It is, if you look at your map contained in your packet, there was a little addition added as the city has aged. Thank Mr. Thomas and Mrs. Richardson that it was looking at, and we had some where we're seeing a little more aging. So we added that in, and then, of course, the brilliant legal mind of Paul Kreitz added that into that whatever legal description that's attached that's a mile long. Anyway, it is one of those that it's a benefit to both business and homeowners. It maintains the current property values. It does one of those is creates eventually a long-term tax revenue. And I say that is like with any tax abatement or tax refund, it'll go, but that will end, but you still have the property. So that is when those taxes for doing what they're doing will go up. And the city will benefit, and of course, any of the taxpayers in Coffeyville, it will lessen their burden. It is one of those, it's incentivized throughout the city. It is in areas, there is a difference in how that rebate is perceived. You have some that'll be 100%. For 5 years and then step down. There's others that it would be a situation where it's 100% for 10 years. The thing in keeping in mind is the city has chosen the 10 years. And we do have, like I say, different areas will receive different incentives. And that's just based on a need. It is... It helps to stabilize land values, which we discussed in our strategic plan. That is, it does also allow the city to grow, and that's one of the main things. But this is a good program for the city. It is not a burden that will be placed, a financial burden on the city, because it's a rebate program. Those paid in, those get back. And that is something, there is certain requirements that have to be met. They do have to be in good standing with their property taxes. If they should not pay their property taxes to get that rebate, then they're out of the program. So there is certain clawbacks that the city would have to protect itself should the owner of the property fail to follow through. It is one of those is performance-based, which I always love. They've got to perform to get this back. So it's not just an upfront incentive, they've got to go through. Now, this also goes in with, you're aware that we are going to address housing. We are in the process of that and ramping that up, but this is a program, along with other programs such as the RHID, that is a tax rebate type program that makes it very attractive to do things, especially in new or existing. I will say that as we go through this, down this road, that it is an attraction for investment. This is transferable. So in a sense, you can make the improvements, which would increase the sale value, but someone buying that, it is also an incentive to them that would loan, and they could transfer that on to them. So there's a little benefits of going through these type programs that actually makes a potential buyer of the property or an investor that you've increased this, you get these taxes while it sells. It's also created a new value. You have a backup plan, and then you sell it to somebody, and they get the carry on and receive those as they pay the property taxes. So this is a good deal. This will form into many as we go throughout this year of programs that we're going to do. But I think before the commission this is a step in the right direction. We've had it before. We're just going to put a little different twist. And as we get ramped up on our housing department, anytime somebody is making a substantial investment in bringing up the home, we will recommend you come see us. And that's what we're looking at the future is the one-stop shopping. Come in and we'll tell you, tell us what you want to do. It is, just remodel and that's really not extensive an investment. But if you do reconstruction or additions or this stuff, be sure to come down and see us, and we'll walk you through the process. So we're moving along, but this is a key program just to continue and move forward. So if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer that.
So even at that, the threshold, so it's a 5% improvement to meet the standard for this rebate, which is not a huge number in most circumstances. So it may be a small remodel project, but you should still, as a homeowner, you would want to take advantage of that if you can.
And that's why we encourage, if you're going to do something, come see
The other
us.
benefit I think that needs to be really pointed out is this does not take dollars off of the books. So you still collect what you're making now.
Yes.
It's a rebate on an improvement. So,
Yes.
and even at that, and I've been involved in this program, so you still have to pay your full tax bill.
Yeah.
Before you get your rebate check.
Yes.
So you pay it, then you get the rebate
Then you
check.
get the
So,
money.
Yes, yep.
So hypothetical situation.
Yes.
There's a resident in one of these areas that may have started a substantial addition project last week.
Okay.
I don't know if this is going to pass or not. If it does, because they started last week, does it?
We would work with that. This was
See
in the
what I'm getting
progress, in the ending point. It was more of those, and we'd stand beside
Stated
stand
in here
beside
it would
that
retro
start.
back to September, if I
Well,
remember
that's right.
correct. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
It would be
So it should
available.
cover,
cover it.
Yep.
building projects that started after September
September.
1st, I
Right.
believe it was.
Very good, thank you.
Okay.
Anything else?
It's it's a very positive thing for the community, and I hope people take full advantage of it. It's very worthwhile.
We'll have others come.
Well, you know, it's one of the biggest, whenever somebody says, well, you can't make improvements on your property because your property taxes will go up, this eliminates that excuse, right? So make your improvements, get your rebate, and going forward, it will benefit the whole community, not
Oh,
just
yeah.
yourself. So,
Increases and stabilizes
Absolutely.
property values.
And they're actually on, in state government, they're working on a freeze to those values too for small improvements in certain range. I don't know if it's been
There's-
fully approved yet, they're still going through the process, but.
The governor, and I know that, like you mentioned, is this COVID has kind of made things a little weird, but the intention of the state is to focus on housing and to come up with new programs. And like I say, there's several we want to get involved in. In fact, they've just said that they're increasing, it is the moderate income housing grant. It's competitive in that, but they usually dedicated 2.1 million. They're starting to look at that they might move towards upwards of 3. It's given out in $350,000 to $400,000 increments, and it is for new construction of multifamily homes. So we'll want investors to get involved in that, and that's just free money. There is no clawback. It's at the end of construction when you're done. If it's an approved program, you get a check. Go to Hawaii, do whatever you want. Give it out to your investors, but it is one of those are the things we're going to be getting into. So that is true, Tracy. That
What was it, SB 13 pushed through that's adding all that in?
so there's more to come.
So Paul, is the ability to transfer is that a new, because I don't remember that being in the old program, is that?
It is transferable.
Right.
You can, it is if I wanted to go in, if I don't want to retain the property, I wanted to go in, develop, but you're going to get the benefit because of the appraised value. So you're going to get the resale value. You can keep it as an investment, but if you want to sell it, you don't necessarily, because you're getting the improved value of to make it sellable.
Yep.
So
No, I think it's a great thing to have
Yeah.
that. I just don't remember it being in the prior agreement. I think it was once you sold it, that went away and the tax level went back to whatever the assessed value was at that time.
well, it is if we have for 10 years and they take over payment for those, they don't start over.
No,
They
no.
just
No, it's
assume
you're right.
assume where
Right.
the position is.
Yep.
So we won't lose
I
any
think
additional.
it's the right thing to do. It's a good step on that, so, yep. If there are no further questions, I'll move to approve resolution R21-07 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion's made by Commissioner York, seconded by Mayor Van Oster to approve Resolution R-21-07 as presented. Commissioner York,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan,
Aye.
Mayor Van Oster,
Aye.
Commissioner Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxon.
Aye.
Okay, moving on, we have a report from our city manager.
Well, I'm going to jump back just on the last question is the reason it can be used in the transfer is if I came in a situation that I wanted to develop, and this is an attraction that we used, is I could come into that neighborhood, invest and bring that up, and as an interest, I could put that up for sale. I'm going to get my return on my investment that I put in plus appreciated value, and then I can sit there and say, by the way, when you buy this house, you get a tax abatement
Oh, absolutely.
for the remaining of the years. So that's a possible, like I say, for somebody that's interested, and I use the term lightly, flip it. You know, that it is attractive for them to do that because like I say, they're gonna
Another
really
selling
know
tool.
the neighborhood and come in and do it, and then you have somebody go, man, I really like what you done, and oh, by the way, there's a tax. So, anyway, I thought I'd add that. Other than that, I know you're proud of the employees. I just want to say thank you for all that they do. It is one of those, they truly care about the community. We are moving forward to do great things. It is one of those that partnerships, I know today earlier you're experiencing with CVR. We were going to have another project with CVR. But GRDA, and I say that is the things that they're doing is something that wherever we're at, 10 years, 20 years from now, that gift will keep on giving. And I think that's the true thing that we are striving for, that one day a boy or a girl will be born in Coffeyville, and not trying to get biblical, but it is one of those that 20 years from now, from that time, they'll be asked, what was it like to grow up in Coffeyville? And they'll sit there and say that they'll remember the park. They'll remember the park and sit there and say, you know, my parents, and they won't say whatever financial condition, they'll sit there and they'll remember these things, that the future, the walking paths, you know, everything, the parks, they'll remember it. And so I just had to sit there and throw that out again.
So we have a collage on the wall where the Reawakening's headquarters, right? And it shows a lot of the old playground equipment. So it shows Astro City.
Yes.
It shows one that was called the Sputnik, which was the most dangerous piece of playground equipment ever invented. And,
It was sure fun. though.
yeah. I don't know how many kids broke their arm on that thing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to reach out and thank, you know, of course, Electric, Mike Shook and Stephanie and all that. But I'd really like to thank, and I know you are with Jim Bradshaw. It is one of those that great public works director. We're doing a lot of things and a lot of new things. So I thank him for his hard work. He works well with the board, and a lot of things get accomplished, and I'm excited for what the board is going to be able to do in the future. So if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer those. Okay, I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay. Now we'll move on to comments from commissioners and staff.
Mayor and Commissioners, I'm
Smile.
here tonight to announce.
You look guilty of something.
Well,
Watch it. Okay, I'm here this evening to announce that we are going to start moving forward on taking applications for the CDBG CV grant funds for the meal program. We have an application put together that we are going to be posting on the city's website for groups to participate in that application process. We tried to keep the application simple. Not a whole lot of information required, but it is limited to not-for-profit organizations that they can use these funds for employee salaries, rent, inventory, and non-city-owned utilities. They can apply for the funds through the city, and it works kind of like what our last grant program did for the businesses, that they will apply through the city, give us their contact information, what they are wanting to apply for. They'll need to provide invoices that substantiate what it is that they're applying for, so that we know that they've had those expenditures, and then let us know if they've received any other federal funding, and if so, what that was used for, because we can't have any duplication of benefits. And then we have a total of $35,000 available in this grant funds left for this process. And we are going to set the application due date for February 19th. That is a Friday. We're hoping to then get everything to the Regional Planning Commission so they can do their review of the invoices and make sure that everything qualifies for the grant expenditures. and then bring that to the commission at one of the March meetings to get that approved. And then those would be submitted to the state, and once the city receives those funds, then we disperse those to those organizations. So just wanted to make you aware that we're going to start taking those applications, want to make those organizations aware that those applications are out there, and please apply, and we'll see if we can get some funds to help fill back up their shelves with food or help in ways that we can.
Good.
So, I know I kind of helped spear some of this initially, and I'm kind of drawing a blank on the food part. Maybe it's the COVID brain. I don't really know. But can you explain a little bit to me what, I know it was divided into two.
Right.
So this avenue here, I know it's designated for food, but can you go a little bit, I mean,
This would be for organizations in town such as Meals on Wheels or Genesis, or even some of the not-for-profit, the churches that do food bank programs, those type of things.
Okay.
If they've purchased items to give out to individuals, or even if they've had payroll, rent, those type of things that would qualify for these grant expenditures, they can apply to have those reimbursed. It's a way to help get more food out to those in the community that need that service, and a way to kind of help those programs rebound from what has been happening with COVID.
so in all likelihood, we're probably not going to see as many applications on this.
I wouldn't expect that we would see as many on this one.
Do we know how many this would be applicable to within Coffeyville?
I don't know for sure,
Okay.
and that's why we met today to kind of go through a list of who we thought this might apply to. That's why we decided we'd put this out on Channel 13. We'll put it out on the city's website. We'll have it on Facebook. We're going to run some ads in the newspaper, just ways to reach those organizations or any of those people that have affiliations with those organizations, to let them know that this is out there.
I was just going to say, are we going to take the initiative to maybe reach out to them and tell them that this is an opportunity?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
For those that we know it would apply to, yes, we will.
There are several churches
Yeah.
provide meals.
Again,
Those that are
age,
less fortunate, and this would fit.
Absolutely.
age of technology, we all rely on it, right? But there
Yeah.
are certain individual groups that don't, right? So
Right.
sometimes picking up the phone and calling the ones that we know for
Right.
sure, especially when we get close to that 19th time frame, that if we haven't seen anything from them, maybe we take the opportunity to reach out to them and say, hey, this is on the table for
Absolutely.
you to take advantage of. So,
And like I said, these applications will be on the city's website. They'll be available in the city clerk's office. You'll return them to the city clerk's office. So we're going to try to simplify the process as
Yep.
much as we can. The important part is them making sure they have invoices or payroll documentation to substantiate what they're applying for.
good.
And any funds not accounted for to be reimbursed out goes back, correct?
We would contact the state and see how we can work those funds in order to, if we have to send those back.
Okay.
We have through June 15th to be able to spend these funds. So we've set the parameters here that anything that they spent since March 1st of 2020 through January 31st of 2021 to apply for this. If we don't get enough, then we'll contact the state and see if we can rework our budget for that grant to be able to keep those funds and redisperse them somehow.
Very good.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So I had a couple things. One, I would like to have an update from Prosperity Builders at the next meeting.
Okay.
It's been a year now, and I know the individual that is maintaining the building out there, and what I hear is there's no action being taken whatsoever, and the for sale sign's still sitting out front, so I don't even know if the building's sold. So I would like to get an update from the MAC or from someone
Yeah.
to where
You
we're
bet.
at on that. And the second one is the old fire department. we need to, I think there's a certain point in time when we got to make a decision on what we're going to do with this building. It's going to become a liability and fall in on itself if we don't do something. I mean,
What-
doing nothing is not an option.
What
And
we
we've talked
currently
about it for
have
3
is,
years.
we are putting together it'll be a quote
Mhm.
package. Thomas, we're looking at two different sizes of the building. One's 50 by 70 foot.
So we're talking,
Yes,
so there's two different things. So we're going to have to build a building at the current emergency services building to house what's over there now.
yes.
That'll be our
And
first
we
step.
we will offset, and that's what it said, there is funding available.
Yep.
But in theory, the building the storage, and it would be with the idea of the thickness to
Right.
store
To-
that heavy thing.
Yeah, the MRAP.
It is, that would be constructed, that would be moved, and that would be put up for sale.
Yeah.
And those, the fund that the money would come from, the sale of the building, those funds would reimburse the fund.
Okay. And the only reason I asked this is because, we told the whole entire group that works over there that we would review this after 1 year, and I think we're probably approaching closer to 3 now. So,
Well, and
I
that's
mean,
what,
and again, I just feel like that building across the street, if we don't do something with it, we're gonna miss an opportunity as much as anything.
we should have, and within the next couple of weeks, we should have, because it's a standard building.
Right.
It's no frills. It's a shell. It will be insulated, but we're just keeping it above freezing.
Yeah.
And that's just because of water in the winter. It's, with going with that, they'll be able to pull it off the shelf, which will be more of a discount to us. And then, like say, after that, then we'll put the building up. So we also, are looking at that other project downstairs too.
Right.
And that will have a source of revenue for the future. So we should know, I want to say, at least on the building in the next week or two,
Good.
and have a number with that.
So by the next meeting?
Oh, crud, let's just put me
Maybe
on the
next
spot.
on that.
Yeah, let's. I'm gonna like these guys ask, you think we can have some number?
think.
Depends on how quick the individual companies can get back to us on
Yeah.
Okay, but we'll get on it.
All right.
Very good.
We're on it.
That's all I have.
Are you done, Paul?
Yeah.
I just had a couple of real quick ones. So, number one, I wanted to say it's good to see Chuck out in the crowd again.
Yeah.
Good to see him, and glad he's here this evening. We want to thank CVR for their donation for North Park, and so we did have a photo op over there today, and what a great piece of equipment that is, and how nice it will be for that park, and as you said, for many years to come. And to our friends at GRDA, what great corporate citizens they are. And,
You bet.
what great partners they are. And thank you guys.
Yes, thank you.
I thought that was Ric Flair back there. I didn't realize it was Chuck.
Yeah. Can you give us
Miss
a
you,
woo?
buddy.
He's like, well, not coming back to another meeting.
Miss seeing you back there, Chuck.
Yep.
It's good to see you.
I was out around the airport some today, and the old hangar that's right by the main road where you go into the T hangars and everything,
Okay.
the lean-to on it's really falling in. Is there something in the works to tear that off or clean it up? Because I mean, it's starting to kick out and it's going to fall in, and you can walk right in it, whether you're supposed
Thomas
to.
is the wizard with,
Okay, so the airport that you're talking about is referred to as the paint shop hangar. It's currently leased to Coffeyville Aircraft. Their lease is coming up here in June. Part of their lease was actually supposed to remove that. Are they going to do it before the end of the lease? I'm guessing probably not.
Right.
But we will have to be addressing it once those get turned back over to us.
It's about to fall off there, so it shouldn't take much
Okay.
to clean it up. Just haul it
Yeah.
off.
So,
yeah.
We are still formulating plans for when they do move out of there, correct?
Yep, we're trying to get some, that's one thing that I will probably be discussing with Lochner and then bringing to you guys in the near future, is probably one of the first things we want to do is have a business plan developed for the airport.
Yep.
Because we, as you know, we haven't ran the airport for, as far as actual day-to-day for quite a while. So get a business plan put in place for fuel sales, hangar rent. Are we charging the right rates? Do we need to change anything? We will be having 2 larger hangars coming back to the city, city-owned at that time. Do we make community hangars? Do we rent those out individual spaces? Kind of what we want to do with that. We're looking at courtesy car stuff as well as for, pilots flying in. That way they can get into town, grab a bite to eat, spend their money in Coffeyville and before they take back off. So that'll be coming forward shortly. Like I said, it's trying to get we did finally get a date from when they're expecting, so we can now try to move forward now that we have that date. So.
To kind of go along with that, have you been out there and looked at where Phoenix set all that piping and looked at the damage that was done to the area?
The FOD strip area. On
Yeah.
the concrete.
And don't get me wrong, I know it wasn't in the best shape in the first place, but it's unusable now.
So that area, the concrete apron area, it really wasn't usable for airport anyway.
Right.
At this point, it's been graded off as best as can be and packed back in to somewhat level it out. It's not really, again, there's concrete panels that are 4 inches difference.
Yeah.
And that's before they were ever there. So that section is there. They did improve our road entrance road quite a bit. It's quite a bit wider than it used to be. So we've kind of back and forth. So that's for that part, but we still have, they did significant damage to what's called the FOD strip or foreign object debris strip that is still in the process of being remedied. So.
And there's some rebar sticking out a few places out there too that if somebody wasn't supposed to be there, they could do some damage.
Yeah, if we can find that, we'll make sure we get it cut off or.
It's sticking up pretty high. I saw it today.
Thank you, Thomas.
Okay. Anything else?
Thanks.
Nope.
Okay. Then I'll make a motion to adjourn if there's nothing else.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Van Aster, seconded by Commissioner Maxon to adjourn. Can I see a show of hands? Thank you, guys.
Okay. Thank you.